What if the secret to making her crave you isn't giving more, but giving less? Imagine this. You're constantly texting her, always available, and doing everything to show you care. Yet she seems to pull away. It's confusing, right? The more you chase, the more distant she becomes. Here's the twist. Real attraction isn't about overwhelming her with attention. It's about creating space, not to play games, but to live your own fulfilling life. When you focus on your passions, your goals, and your growth, you naturally become less available. This absence isn't neglect, it's a sign of self-respect. And it makes her wonder, what's he up to? This isn't about manipulation, it's about authenticity. When you're genuinely engaged in your life, you exude confidence and purpose. She senses this, and it's magnetic. So instead of constantly proving your worth, focus on becoming the best version of yourself. Let her be drawn to the man who's fulfilled, driven, and whole on his own. What if everything you were taught about love is actually why she lost interest? Let's break something wide open. Most men were raised on one message: chase her, impress her, give her the world. Be nice, be available, be everything. Sounds noble, right? But here's the truth they never told you. Chasing a woman actually kills her attraction for you. Because when you chase, you place her above you. You make her the prize and yourself the pursuer. And that energy, it flips the polarity. It makes her feel like she already has you. And there's no thrill in that. See, women don't crave what's constantly in their face. They crave what's slightly out of reach. They crave what they have to think about, what lingers in their mind when it's not right in front of them. Think about your own cravings. You don't desire something that's always there. You want the thing that's rare, mysterious, limited. That's exactly how attraction works. So when you stop chasing, not out of spite, but out of self-respect, you shift everything. Suddenly, you're not trying to prove yourself. You're proving that your life is already enough. And that's when her mind starts spinning. Why isn't he chasing me? What's going on in his world? Did I lose him? That uncertainty. That's the seed of obsession. But here's the trick. It only works if it's real. You can't fake detachment. You have to mean it. You have to live it. Because women are experts at sensing emotional neediness. You can say all the right things, but if your energy says, I need you, it'll leak out. So don't just act like a man on a mission. Be one. Let her feel the pull of your gravity, not because you're trying to lure her in, but because you're already going places with or without her. And once she realizes you're not standing still waiting, she starts chasing. Stem. If she suddenly starts thinking about you non-stop, this is why. And it's got nothing to do with what you said. Let's talk about absence. Not as a tactic, but as a natural result of living like a man with purpose. Most guys fear disappearing from a woman's life. They think, if I'm not around, she'll forget me. But the opposite is true. When you're constantly present, constantly texting, constantly checking in, her brain adapts. It gets used to you. You become normal, predictable, background noise. But when you step away, not with drama, not with games, just by living your life, something strange happens inside her. Her brain starts going through withdrawal. This is real neuroscience. The brain links people and experiences to dopamine, the chemical behind cravings and emotional highs. So when you've shared good moments with her, laughs, tension, even intimacy, your presence becomes a trigger. And when you vanish, she doesn't just miss you. She starts craving the feeling you gave her. But here's the kicker. It only works if your absence is genuine. If you're constantly lurking in her DMs, watching every story, or sending just checking in messages, the effect dies. True absence means mental space, emotional silence. You let the bond breathe. You give her brain room to feel the gap you left behind. And if she ever truly felt something with you, anything, your silence becomes louder than any words you could ever say. This is not about punishment. This is not a game. This is the power of detachment. It's the strength to walk away and trust your own gravity. Because when a man disappears into his mission, his peace, his discipline, he creates mystery. And mystery is the spark that turns into obsession. When she can't figure you out, when she doesn't know why you're not chasing, that's when she starts chasing you. In her thoughts, her fantasies, and eventually, her actions. You don't have to be the richest guy, the best looking guy, or the most charming guy, just the one she can't fully have. Here's something wild. Humans don't just want what's good. We want what's rare. And when it comes to attraction, scarcity creates obsession. Think about diamonds. They aren't the most useful things on earth, but they're rare. They're hard to find. You can't just grab one from the street. The same thing happens with people. If you're always around, always saying yes, always giving more than she gives you, guess what? You become abundant, easy to reach, easy to take for granted. But the man who lives with purpose, who isn't always available, switches something in her mind. Now you're a puzzle. Now you're not predictable. Now your attention is not free. She starts wondering, why isn't he texting back right away? Why isn't he trying harder to impress me? Why do I feel like I'm the one chasing now? You flip the script by being less available, but not as a trick. It has to come from a place of real self-respect. You're busy because you're building something. You are distant because your time is valuable. You're not ignoring her. You're prioritizing your life. That's what makes her want you more. When she feels like she can't fully pin you down. When your presence feels like a gift, not a guarantee. Her brain marks you as rare. And when something is rare, we obsess. We fantasize. We search for it. We compete for it. This is how attraction flips. Not by trying harder, but by being so full of purpose, discipline, and inner fire that she starts wondering if she's even good enough for you. When you activate the scarcity switch, she doesn't just want you, she needs you. The more emotional she gets, the more power you gain, if you stay calm. Here's a truth most men never understand. In the moments when she's testing you, poking at you, even pulling away, she's not looking for you to chase. She's looking for your center. Women are emotional creatures. That's not a criticism, it's nature. But when emotions rise, most guys match them. She gets cold. He panics. She gets angry. He argues. She gets distant. He floods her with messages. Wrong move every time. That's not masculine. That's reactive. That tells her you're not in control of yourself. And if you're not in control of you, how can she trust you to lead? Now here's where it gets powerful. When you stay calm, when you don't bite the bait, when you don't react to her storms, but stand like a mountain in the wind, you activate something ancient in her brain, a craving, a pull, a deep, unconscious desire for your presence. Your stillness becomes her safety. Your silence becomes your power. Your emotional mastery becomes her addiction. Stoic men are attractive because they don't chase peace. They create it. They walk into chaos and make it calm. They don't need to fix the woman. They just hold steady while she feels. That's rare. That's valuable. That's unforgettable. So next time she's upset, testing you, pulling back, or trying to spark a reaction, pause. Breathe. Hold your ground. Let her come to your calm. Because when she realizes you're the only man who doesn't flinch, you become the only man she can't stop thinking about. And that's when she starts craving you. Not like a boyfriend, but like a drug. What's always there becomes invisible. What's rare becomes priceless. Let me ask you something powerful. Why do people chase gold, but ignore dirt? It's not because gold sparkles. It's because gold is scarce. And that's the same psychology that drives female attraction. If you're always available, always texting, always showing up at her feet, you lose your shine. You become like background noise, always playing, never noticed. But when you're rare, when your time is valuable, when your presence is earned, that's when her mind starts whispering, "Where is he? What's he doing? Why am I not the center of his world?" And that is the beginning of craving. Most men think they need to prove their worth through attention. But real value doesn't shout. It lets others feel the weight of its absence. You don't chase her. You don't beg for time. You're building. You're focused. You're in motion. And when she reaches out, when she wants to see you again, it's not because you convinced her with words. It's because your scarcity made her imagine your value. This isn't manipulation. This is nature. This is economics. This is power. And here's the twist most men miss. The less you need her, the more she needs to feel wanted by you. Because the man who doesn't place her above his purpose is the man she wants to be chosen by. Want to drive her wild? Don't just disappear. Make your presence a privilege. And suddenly, she won't just want you. She'll crave you. If you can control your emotions, you can control the room and her heart. Let's break a myth that's been destroying men for decades. The idea that you have to wear your heart on your sleeve to show love. That's not love. That's neediness dressed up as openness. And women can smell it. Here's what she won't tell you, but deeply feels. A man who loses himself in his emotions makes her feel unsafe. Not because she doesn't care about your feelings, but because if you can't hold it together, who's leading? That's where your masculine advantage comes in. Emotional mastery. Not emotional suppression, emotional control. Picture this. A storm is raging. Winds are howling. But you're the calm eye of that storm. She watches how you respond under pressure. Not to test you, but to feel your strength. And here's the part that flips the craving switch in her mind. When you stay grounded, when you don't chase, react, or beg for reassurance, she starts craving your approval instead. Your calm becomes her obsession. Your stillness becomes her mystery. Your lack of emotional outbursts makes you rare and irresistible. Why? Because in a world where everyone's triggered, a man who stays composed becomes a leader. And that leader? He's not chasing anyone. He's moving forward. He's building something bigger than drama. And the more she realizes she can't shake your core, the more she aches to be part of it. Want to make her addicted? Don't mirror her chaos. Be her anchor. Because while her emotions might be waves, she's looking for a man who's the shoreline. The fastest way to make her chase you is to disappear from the parts of her world where she expects you most. Now let's talk about something that hits the human brain like a chemical rush. Scarcity. Think about gold. Why is it valuable? Because it's rare, hard to get. You can't just grab it off the street. Now apply that to you. If you're always texting, always available, always showing up the moment she calls, guess what? You've just made yourself common, and the brain does not chase what it already owns. But when your presence feels earned, when your attention is no longer guaranteed, that's when she starts craving it. Not out of manipulation, but because you're finally living your life like you matter more than her approval. Let that sink in. Every time you choose your growth over her drama, every time you disappear to build, to rest, to reflect, you raise your value. It's the same way your favorite artist drops a song, then vanishes. When they come back, the world goes crazy. That's not an accident. That's strategy through purpose. Women crave the same thing from men. Energy they can't control. Presence they can't predict. Time they can't always have. It forces her to earn your time. It tells her, this man is not afraid to walk alone. That's rare. That's powerful. That's what she can't stop thinking about when you're not around. So here's the move. Don't give her less because you're punishing her. Give her less because your life is too meaningful to spend on anything that doesn't feed your soul. And that's exactly what she'll start begging to be part of. Craving isn't born from giving more. It's born from showing her that you don't need to give at all, unless it's worth it to you. She'll test your emotions, not because she wants you to fail, but because she needs to know your mind isn't a battlefield she can win. Let's get into the part of you that makes her addicted long term. It's not your looks. It's not your money. It's not your status. It's your stillness. Here's what I mean. Most men crack when emotions run high. She pulls away. He panics. She gets moody. He overexplains. She gives attitude. He raises his voice. Boom. She's in control. Not because she's smarter, but because you gave her the keys to your emotional world. But the man she can't stop craving? He's calm, not cold, not robotic, but centered, grounded, unshaken. He listens without rushing to fix. He responds without trying to win. He feels, but doesn't bleed those feelings all over her. That kind of energy, it disarms her. It makes her feel safe and intrigued. Because deep down, every woman wants a man who can handle her storm without becoming part of it. When you're emotionally calm, you do something powerful to her mind. You confuse it in the best way. She starts asking herself, why isn't he reacting like every other guy? Does he not care? Why do I feel more drawn to him now? She leans in while trying to figure you out. That curiosity becomes obsession. That obsession becomes emotional craving. Remember, women are intuitive. They don't always fall for words. They fall for energy. And nothing hits harder than the quiet energy of a man who doesn't flinch. A man who can sit in silence without needing to prove himself. That silence, it echoes in her mind. It makes her wonder about you long after you've left the room. So, you want to make her addicted? Stop chasing her emotions. Master your own. She only realizes your true worth when you're not there to remind her of it. Now we've come to the most powerful move you'll ever make. And no, it's not saying the perfect thing. It's not a trick. It's not about being mean. It's about walking away without bitterness and without looking back. You see, the deepest craving doesn't come from attention. It doesn't even come from affection. It comes from loss. Here's what happens when you fully step out of the picture. Not as a threat, not as a game, but because you simply outgrew her chaos and chose peace. She notices something strange. The silence feels louder than anything you ever said. Your absence? It stings deeper than any rejection. Why? Because women can feel the difference between a man who leaves out of spite and a man who leaves because his life is too full for drama. She doesn't just miss the attention. She misses the energy, the masculine presence that brought calm, the emotional leadership that brought safety, the quiet confidence that made her feel seen without needing to be loud. When you walk away with dignity, you unlock the final stage of psychological craving. Reflection? She starts playing it all back. The way you handled pressure, the way you didn't beg for her love, the way you stayed cool while she tested you. And suddenly she realizes, you weren't like the others. You were rare. You were real, and now you're gone. Here's the Stoic truth. You don't need to slam doors. You don't need to scream. You just need to build a life so full of purpose, peace, and direction that anyone who takes you for granted ends up craving you like air. And that craving? It doesn't fade quickly. Because when a woman loses a man who never needed her, but deeply valued her, she spends a long time chasing the feeling he gave her. That's the emotional drug. Not your looks, not your words, but your presence and your powerful absence. So now the question is, are you willing to be that man? Because once you are, she'll never forget you, even if she never gets you back.